Welcome into the Detroit Lions Live Kier Auto Insurance post-game show. Detroit, with their first road game on the schedule, it is in the books now. Detroit pulls out the win 20-13 over the Arizona Cardinals here at State Farm. Alongside the Super Bowl champion Lomas Brown, I'm Dannie Rogers. Thanks so much for joining us here today. The big question, could the Detroit Lions bounce back into the win column, and could they redeem themselves in the red zone? They did both of those things. 2 for 2 in the red zone today, 2 for 2 on goal to go, and they go home to Detroit with a W. Lomas, what sticks out to you first about this game?
I think the commitment to run the ball. We talked about it, Danny, 55 passes from Jared Goff last week. It just wasn't a formula or ingredient for winning. I think the Lions came out, made a concerted effort to run the ball, mixing the run with the pass. I thought Ben Johnson did a great job of mixing everything in. And you can see it. You can see that we started wearing those guys down in the second half. It enabled David Montgomery to have a big game like he had today. So I thought it was just a well-thought-out plan, and I thought Ben Johnson did a great job of calling it today.
Certainly, and you take a look at those stats right there. Time of possession is one thing that sticks out to me. Detroit edging out Arizona. And then the rushing yards, 188 rushing yards to just Arizona's 77. So I know you want to talk about offense. Let's talk about the defense first. I gave you a nugget before we got on the show, Lomas, that Arizona came in as the number 1 third down conversion team in the league at 58%. Yep. You know what they finished with today? 1 for 9, 11% on third down. What made the difference in making sure Cards could not convert the ball?
Yeah, Danny, they did the opposite. We stopped the run because that's what Arizona wants to do. They want to get James Conner. They want to get Kyler Murray involved in the game, running the ball, and everything else they do offensively comes off the run. We did a great job of stopping the run early in the game, forced them to do some things that they didn't want to do, and they played well into our hands in the second half. So I thought that was the number one thing we did, stop the run, the Arizona Cardinals run game.
Let's see what stuck out to the head coach, Dan Campbell. He's standing by the podium now.
Look, that team over there played hard. We knew they would. That's a physical unit. Man, they got weapons, toughness, so Coach Gannon's doing a good job over there. He really is. It's good to get back in the win column. Our guys were, like I said, we were locked in, ready to go this week. Felt like we cleaned up a lot of things we needed to clean up, and it's still not perfect, but ultimately we knew, and our guys knew that this was going to be one of those grimy, gritty, unglorious type jobs that were going to need to be done on the O-line, D-line, receivers, DBs, everywhere, man. And that's exactly the game it was. We needed to outgame this team on the run game. O-line did that, 188 to their 77. We kind of kept Murray at bay for the most part, which was huge on defense. And, you see the second half, man, those stop after stop after stop. I thought our defense, special teams, picked up where, we weren't quite converting. Whereas in the first half, offensively, man, we're converting touchdowns, moving the ball, and then they're having a little bit of success. So it was just a great team performance, it was, and proud of the guys.
Dan, 15 runs on the first 2 touchdown drives. How important was it for you guys to go out there and kind of reestablish who you are and what you think you do best?
Yeah, I thought it was that was going to be a big thing for us, but also make this team play somewhere they haven't been necessarily in their first 2 games. They've really kind of controlled both games, Buffalo and the Rams. They got up early, and and they were able to do really what they wanted to do. And so that was, if we could get on them early and just try to establish the run game, physical type battle, defense, do what we needed to do. That was going to be our best chances here to have success, and it worked out.
Murray had a perfect passer rating last week in the game.
Yeah.
What were you guys able to do? It was less than half that this week, 45 yards. I think he was a leading rusher. Just what were you able to do with him specifically? How proud are you of the way you kind of handled their offense?
Well, I think a lot of it there, again, it goes to the front, but it goes to the coverage too. I mean, our coverage, I thought, for the most part, played pretty dang good. And we were in tight coverage. And you have to make tight throws when you have tight coverage, and then that's with people bearing down on you. We're pretty disciplined up front in our rush lanes. We knew it wasn't going to be easy. We knew they were going to get some, inevitably. He's a good player. But we were able to do that, and then I think a lot of it too is not only the stops defensively but offensively. We were able to possess the ball and continue to put a little bit of pressure on them. When you're able to stay up 2 scores for most of the game, that applies a little pressure on your opponent. So, but it was a great job. AG had a hell of a plan. I thought those guys on defense really played outstanding. I thought the 3 and outs there in the second half that we had, the sudden change, after the turnover offensively that we had, the defense takes the field, gets a huge stop, 4th down stop, the turnover, all of it. It was good. Yeah, I think it gives those guys a lot of confidence, and I think that's something they can really sink their teeth into. I think our backs, it's one of those they just kind of feed off each other. Dave Montgomery and Gibbs and that old line, and they're able to establish the ground game and yes, the physical side of it. Like at least it doesn't mean you're going to have 10-yard runs every time, but you know what kind of game you're about to walk into, if you're the opponent. Like, this is the type of day it's going to be, and that's really what you want to establish. But then the flip side of that, too, is, I thought, man, it helps Goff, too, right? He just, I don't know if he had an incomplete pass in the first half. He was playing very efficient. He was very smart, found the check downs. The shots aren't there, check it down, and those check downs were huge for us. They ended up being a number of those were 8+. So, it was big. Like I say, total team performance. Special teams came up, big. That second half playing field position. Jack Fox had a couple of really big time punts. So. Yeah, I don't. I'll know more tomorrow at some point. Both of them have injuries. I can't say they're not going to be long term, but I don't feel like it's something like we're worried about season ending. But we'll know a lot more tomorrow on those things. When we're able to get home and check it out. Look, I think what I know of this team, what we know of each other is very much intact, and that's that, man, we're pretty resilient group, and that'll always be part of who we are, I believe, because we have the right guys, right coaches, right players, and so then it's just about, man, okay, how do we play the game here, and I think what helps is, like, this game, we knew we were going to come in, and this was going to give us our best chance to have success. We really felt like is establish the run, really, hit the ground game, and defensively, we knew we needed to bottle him up over there and stop their run. But I think we can play different types of games. Last week, we scored 1 or 2 of those in the red zone. Well, hell, we threw it 50 times, over 50 times, and we had a chance to win that game. So I think that's what makes you feel pretty good is that I feel like we can play different types of games. We can do whatever we need to with special teams, defense, and offense, and we just got to find a way to win every week, and they could be different every time.
When the schedule comes out, you probably hate to see an early bye, but after a game like this, the more attrition starts stacking up. Is it maybe a little timing blessing?
Yeah, well, we'll know a lot more tomorrow on that, but it looks like, yeah, it could be a perfect time. And then, I love the fact that we're going into a Monday game, then the bye. The Monday, we get an extra day of recovery here before we have to play again, so there could be some of those. That's going to help our guys out. They got a little banged up today, between Branch and we'll see on Mack, we'll see on Barnes. We had some other guys that got some nicks and bruises, and so hopefully that'll help us heal up. Yeah, I thought he was very active.
I did. I thought he was active back there, and thought he was seeing the field. I thought he was roaming pretty good. That was a heck of a play on the interception, and I just feel like he's I don't know if quiet's the right word, but quietly improving here. He's quietly getting better, and I mean that in a good way. So he's getting better, and I think just with I think that whole secondary, the more they're able to play together, the better we're going to get. They're just going to continue to get better and better and better between Branch and Kirby and CD and TA and Amik, all those guys just playing together, man. It's just going to keep getting better and better. It's really gotten better every week.
There was a sequence where I think that late third, early fourth, he challenged the one that got overturned. Can you talk about what you saw there? And then the other ensuing possession looked like David might have got the first down, set up the fourth and one. You guys didn't get it there. Did you think about challenging that one at all, the third down?
Yeah, my understanding was that it wasn't close. So on that one, but look, the challenge that they had on the fourth down, I just felt like it was, it's not like I had perfect eagle eyesight to it, and as a matter of fact, somebody kicked the flag out of the way while it was going or when they were getting tackled, but it just felt like where he was going down and the way he was going down kind of backwards and with his, I just felt like, man, it's worth a challenge. It's going to be close, and so to me, it was worth it, So it ended up being a big play. It's a great job by Davis. I mean, it's a heck of a job, man, finishing on that play.
Sam, one last one. Sam was going in and out after his injury. Are you able to kind of detail what he was dealing with?
Yeah, he had an ankle
Just a sprain or anything?
sprain. Yeah.
Yeah, was Goff trying to get the snap off before the 2 minute in the first half? You feel fortunate that would have turned the defense right there. That they blew it, dead right there.
The one where they pressured us up the middle.
He got would have been a pick, I guess, but they blew it after the 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Trying to get that snap off.
Yeah. Yep.
You feel fortunate. How fortunate do you feel that worked out in your favor, I guess?
Yeah, but I mean, the whistle was blowing I heard the whistle it felt like a good full second before we even snapped it, because I could hear them down there, and then I look, and we hadn't snapped it yet, then they snap it. So, yeah, I was fortunate, but the whistle had blown well ahead of time. Yep. Look, that team.
Great game. Is that the best catch you've ever made?
Actually, there was one better.
When? The Chicago game?
Minnesota?
No, getting Cure Auto Insurance.
Are you for real?
Seriously, when I got here in Michigan, car insurance was the worst. But saving up to 40% by switching to Cure was my best catch.
Cure Auto Insurance. Drive well.
Detroit Lions Live is brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. Log on to Cure.com to see how you can save. Defensively, this was the Detroit Lions' best showing of this season so far. I love this stat. Detroit Lions pass rush win percentage, number 1 in the NFL at 67%. And a large reason for that, defensive end Aiden Hutchinson. It took him till the fourth quarter to register his first sack of the game, but that is 3 straight weeks of getting to the quarterback and impacting offenses where they start. Taking a look at Hutch's final stats there. 1 sack for 7 yards, loss of 7, 2 QB hits. He adds on some TFLs, and he's one of the top tacklers in this game today. Why is he so disruptive no matter which offense is flying at him, Lomas?
Because of that molder. That, to me, that's his number one attribute is his molder. Danny, he never gives up on the play. He made a fantastic play just off his hustle that prevented Arizona from getting the first down today versus the run. But the guy's always moving. He's always challenging you, and that's a great trait to have in a young guy. And his moves are going to come more and more as he get more and more experience in the league. So he's our number one alpha over there on the defensive side of the ball.
Based on Hutch's skill set, what makes him so different that he can kind of line up wherever he wants to, but still make an impact?
Yeah, and like you say, it's a skill set. Danny, he got the spin move. He got the rip move. He got the outside speed that he could beat you with, and then he got the power where he could push you all the way back. When you play against a guy that have all those type of moves, Believe me, as an offensive lineman, it's very hard to block guys like that. So that's why Aiden, regardless, left side, right side, wherever they have him lined up, he always makes an impact.
Defense outstanding today. Hutch, a large part for that. And I heard from him post-game. Let's go to my interview with Aiden Hutchinson. Hutch, 3 weeks of football. Every single week you've tallied a sack. What is making the difference for you this season in terms of getting to the quarterback?
I feel like my mentality's gotten a little bit better, and I feel like throughout the game, if I don't have a sack, I feel like my mentality's a little bit sharper. And then again, I think as a D-line, we're all rushing together a lot more, and I think that helps. And I think collectively as a defense, we're playing very well, and it makes it a little easier to get sacks when, your corners cover and the D-line rushes. So it's really a lot of the credit goes to them for sure.
Arizona coming into today averaged 35 points per game. They're held to just 13. How did that collective group effort keep these Cardinals off the scoreboard for the most part?
Yeah, I think we just wanted to play our brand of football, and in their previous games, they pulled away really fast, and we knew that if we had a fast start, we're in this game and we can win it. And that's what we did. Offense went down and scored. We let one up, but we just stayed in it. And I think that was the difference.
It's hard to tell whose arena, whose stadium this is today with all the Lions fans. What kind of statement did this team make on the road in front of a very packed Lions crowd?
I always forget that we travel so heavy to these away games, and so the snap counts change, and they start going on silent counts. And honestly, it helps as a D lineman as getting a get off. That is the biggest difference when they're screaming when we're on defense. So yeah, they're awesome. I mean, I will stand by that we got the best fans in the NFL.
Appreciate it, Hutch. Congrats. Thank you. Detroit Lions fans don't care what day it is. They don't care how far a game is from Detroit. They are showing up. They blew your mind too, right?
Oh, my, Danny, it was so much blue out there amongst that red. And like I say, when we came out for lineups, I'm like, wait a minute, are we in Detroit or Arizona? Our fans are the best.
It doesn't matter to safety Brian Branch where the Detroit Lions are playing. He is going to continue to produce. He led all tacklers here today for the Detroit Lions, 9 right off the rip. He was everywhere, extremely productive. Lomas, when you look at Branch and what he's been able to do at such an early start in his career, what does stand out to you in his production?
So you know what, Danny, I'll put it this way. Buda Baker, they're all pro, all world safety. That's who Brian reminds me of. He kind of plays the same way Buda does. He's real aggressive, getting to the line of scrimmage. He makes great tackles when he gets to the guys. He can cover. He can defend the pass. The guy does it all, man, and he plays with such high energy. So that's why I compare him to a Buda Baker. And, hey, if he keep on that path, he could probably be better than Buda.
That is some high praise. Buda Baker looking for his 5th consecutive Pro Bowl this year. Kirby Joseph is Brian Branch's counterpart.
Yes.
And you hear talk about that being the best safety duo in the league, and there's a reason for it. Kirby Joseph, a big interception in the end zone today to keep Arizona out of it. He has had 4 INTs in the first 2 seasons of his career. He's got 2 so far on this season, so he is looking to chase that once again. You take a look at all of his production. He's a sticky DB who's just everywhere.
Yeah.
Why is he able to anticipate quarterbacks so easily?
I know, Danny. That's a talent. It's a talent, Danny, and he just has this. I don't know, he just has this demeanor about him, but every time I see him, I get such a big smile on my face. He's a personable guy, but he's a dog out there on that field, always in the middle of something, always coming up with the big plays when we need them to. So I love me some Kirby Joseph.
Offensively, the running back duo here of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery showed up here today. They are the only running back duo in the league coming into week 3 where both of them had 150-plus yards, scrimmage yards. That is very productive here early on. Jahmyr Gibbs, the lateral, the hook and good old hook and ladder, it worked like a charm. He punches in a touchdown, got the lateral from Amon-Ra, so he executed it perfectly. 16 carries for 83 rushing yards, average 5.2 yards per carry. Not bad at all. But But Gibbs-Montgomery, that duo is outstanding. How is Gibbs different, though, in his own way to put up that kind of production?
Good question, because, again, you're right. It is a big difference between Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. But Jahmyr, I mean, he's so elusive, Danny. If you get this guy out in space, he can really make people miss. He's explosive, too, out there on the field, has a ton of speed, and he's just a talented guy. You match him up with my guy David Montgomery, man, like you said, you got a dynamic duo in those two, especially with those big fellas up front eating, too. Don't forget about the big guys.
I know. This is the first game where we saw both Gibbs and Montgomery eat. I know the offense is having issues with the amount of guys they have to get touches to, but Montgomery and Gibbs both getting it done on the ground. Montgomery, he punched in a touchdown today as well. Anytime there's a goal-to-go situation, I mean, Montgomery is the guy that they're going to go to. On 23 carries, registers 106 rushing yards. Longest rush of the day is 416. He is lethal no matter what situation is in a game. Why is he so reliable, too?
So I'll say it, and I'll reiterate it again. To me, our offensive MVP is that young man right there. He makes the engine go. Without him, I just don't think we function the same way. He's always moving forward. One guy never brings him down. And did you see him just moving the pile? I mean, he was moving big fellas, little fellas. He was moving them all out there. So I love David, man. I love the way he runs. I love his enthusiasm when he's out there on the field. And I think it's contagious to the rest of those guys out there on offense.
Detroit's leading receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, back to regularly scheduled business, okay? He also gets in on the touchdowns here today, and he told me each week he approaches it the same mindset every single week. Did you know he doesn't use the cold tub or the hot tubs?
He doesn't?
No, his treatment's a little bit different.
Well, that's good, because I never used it either, Danny.
So yours, okay.
I can't get in there. Are you kidding me?
I don't blame. I'm just okay. So that's what the elite people are doing nowadays. That's what I'm hearing. 75 receiving yards on 7 receptions. Longest catch of the day was for 20 yards. He made his presence known early on. He had to battle with the tight ends of the Detroit Lions. They came up with 6 receptions. But how is Amon-Ra St. Brown still able to produce where there is an offense? A plethora of weapons on this offense.
Same old. Then it's just like the sun comes up every day. You could count on this young man right here to get you first downs, to get you touchdowns, and to make that crucial catch. He's a guy you could just rely on, Danny. I mean, he is so reliable, and I know that's why Jared tries to get him involved in the game and keep him involved in the game because of what he brings to it. So, I mean, without Amon-Ra, again, another guy that I just don't think the passing game works without him.
Quarterback, Jared Goff, he stayed in the pocket all day, was very patient, and you could tell his throwing through the first 2 quarters almost perfect. He looked like a new quarterback or just the old quarterback that we're used to seeing here. On 18 completions, he completed 78% of his passes for 198 yards. So he didn't have to throw 55 times today.
Thank you. And I know Jared didn't want to throw 55 times. We always say, Danny, a best friend of a quarterback is his run game. So, again, run the ball. That I thought Ben Johnson did a great job with his play calling today. And you're right. He was so patient. He was back there looking over the field, making sure he got it to the right guy. I love the way Jared played today. And like you say, sometimes less is more. And that's what it was today with Jared. Throwing it less meant more for us today.
Goff is standing by at the podium. Let's hear from him.
Yeah. Slowed down a little bit, but you guys were able to pull it out. Just kind of talk about how that game went and how proud you guys are that kind of just grind out a win.
Absolutely. I think the first half was kind of as good as we can draw it up. I don't believe we had an incompletion. I think we were running it efficiently. In the second half, we just kind of kept stumbling over our own feet, and I have the turnover. We make some mistakes in different areas, and couldn't get anything going until that last drive when we needed it most, and ultimately we made it happen.
Can you speak to sorry, that was messing me up too. Can you just speak to the game Ben called, obviously with the Gibbs touchdown, but there was one, 3rd and 12 that went for 14. Your run there at the end, everybody thought that was going right up the middle, and moved that out. Just the game that Ben called today.
Yeah, I thought he got creative. I thought that the touchdown was fun. We've been working on that one for a while, and I thought that was a good spot to call it. And yeah, I thought when we stalled there, kind of in the second half, he was committed to the run, and it ended up paying off for us at the end.
Came out that opening drive and just ran the ball right down the field with Montgomery. How much does that change the dynamic of what you guys are able to do when you have that much success in the opening drive like that?
First drive of the game, yeah, it's what we wanted to do. We wanted to come out here and try to apply pressure and come out and start with the ball and score a touchdown. We did exactly that.
The way you did it, though, Frank was in there talking about
Yep.
that's the way they want to start the game, obviously.
Sure. Yeah, and it opens up everything else. Yeah, certainly it opens up the play action game, and I think it just kind of lets the other team know that what we're here to do and run the ball like that, and you'll win a lot of games.
What about the job of the defense too?
Yeah.
Making a ton of stops there in the second half, getting you guys back, allowing you to kind of grind on a little bit, just the job those guys did.
Yeah, a ton. Our defense is playing really well right now. I mean, that's 3 straight games there where they're doing some good things, and ultimately, we'd love to stretch that game open and make it a 3-score, 4-score game. And ended a lot earlier than that, but they held on and made some plays for us and picked us up when we needed it, and then at the end of the game we were able to close it out. Yeah. It's special, man. He's fun to watch at practice. You can see he took his game to the next level. This whole offseason, you could tell. I think I spoke about it last week, but like his whole body changed. You could just see like he's growing and mentally, physically, everything, and coming into his own as a player certainly. And I'm glad he's on our side.
Dan was saying kind of the identity of his team so far is like resilience. Do you kind of see that? I mean, 3 different types of styles you guys have played in so far, 3 games.
Yeah.
You see that as kind of your identity so far?
Yeah, I think it is resiliency. I think, like you said, it's the ability to adapt to and play different types of games and win in different ways. And that was always our way last year as well. And I know the way that Dan wants to be is multiple and have the ability to win it through the air, through the on the ground, and by our defense. And today was kind of a combination of all that. Huge, yeah. Right, huge. It's that's team ball right there, and makes me feel good when they're able to keep them from scoring when I make a critical mistake like that. All right, thanks, guys.
Saint, great game. Is that the best catch you've ever made?
Actually, there was one better.
When? The Chicago game?
Minnesota?
No, getting Cure Auto Insurance.
Are you for real?
Seriously, when I got here in Michigan, car insurance was the worst. But saving up to 40% by switching to Cure was my best catch.
Cure Auto Insurance. Drive well.
Detroit Lions Live is brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. Log on to Cure.com to see how you can save. Detroit Lions return home to face the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football inside Ford Field. The likes of Geno Smith coming back to town, DK Metcalf on the defensive side, Devin Witherspoon, a young gun there in the secondary. You hear about all these weapons, and you were helping me battle them off too, Lomas. What kind of matchup is coming to Detroit on Monday?
A dangerous matchup, Danny. We got to beat these guys. I mean, I think they've beaten us, 3, maybe 4 in a row. So we really need to beat these guys, and especially at home. They've come to the Ford Field and beaten us a couple of times at home. So we really need to get off the slide. But like you mentioned, Danny, they got a lot of talent in Seattle. So it's going to be another tough test for us. Hopefully we can get all our guys injury-free, and we'll have our full complement of guys going into this game, because we're going to need them. Yes, we are.
We talk about the final takeaways of this game. First up, that third down defense.
Yes.
What did that unit show you today?
Oh, my God. Aaron Glenn has them playing at such a high level right now. To me, Danny, that's the best unit on our team right now. And we thought the offense would be that way, which is a great sign for us, because we know the offense is going to keep getting better and better and better. But our defense is playing at a nice elite level right now. If we could just sustain that for this year, We could get back to where we want to get at. Me and you could be dancing in New Orleans.
We haven't
That's
even
what I
done
wanna
our
do.
dance.
See, I know.
We're letting the people down.
Okay.
Let us regroup and get one
We
together, and
will.
then we'll come back.
We're going to get ourselves together.
For sure. Offensively, there are just so many weapons. You never know really who's going to pop off this year, and that's been proven through the first 3 weeks. Is that a great scenario for the Detroit Lions, or is that a neutral or bad scenario?
I think it's a great scenario because, again, you got different guys that can get the ball. Again, we were concerned with Amon-Ra week 1. We've been concerned with Sam Laporta. But you can see that they're getting these guys involved. Unfortunately, Sam got hurt today, so he didn't play as much as he probably wanted to. But you can see Ben Johnson making a concerted effort to get all these guys involved in the game plan. Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery, even J-Mo. So you got to keep these guys happy. Only way I know to do that is keep feeding them the ball.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of injuries, a couple of defenders that were banged up today, Aleem McNeil and Derek Barnes. We'll have more updates on that throughout this week from head coach Dan Campbell. Defense getting it done, remind you, without Alex Anzalone, who was out with dealing with a concussion from week 2.
That's a great point.
This defense still showed up.
They did, and that's our green dot guy.
Yep.
So he's the guy that lines guys up. He's the guy that receives the plays from the coaches. So for him to be out and us to still play the way we did, that's encouraging.
This win speaks volumes for the Detroit Lions. Coming on the road to Arizona, they'll go back home to Detroit 2-1 before they take on the Seattle Seahawks. Undefeated on the season under first-year head coach Mike McDonald. Wolverine fans are very familiar with that name, the former DC, but live from State Farm Stadium, that's Lomas Brown. I'm Dannie Rogers. Thanks so much for joining us here on the road. We will see you back in the Motor City for some Monday Night Football. How's that sound, Lomas?
Sounds great to me.
Let's do it.